Okay, today on Rick Steele Customs, we're going to take a look at a new van new used van, 1973 used to be exact. I purchased this van day before yesterday, and let's take a look at it. It's a 1973 Chevrolet. I think it's a G10. Put down in your comment section right now, take a pause, go down to the comment section and tell me what you think I paid for this van. Okay, I'll tell you right now that the van is pretty decent, but you know, body-wise, rust-wise, it's got very little of both. Very good body, very little rust. Anyway, let's take a look. Again, this is a 1973, so I don't have to bother with the conversion on it. It did not come with that grille or the headlight bezels. That's the only thing I stuck on, and it's not even attached, it's just there. There's no engine, no transmission, no brake booster. Unfortunately, when they took the booster out, or the engine out, they decided, well, may as well have a booster. Can't hurt being on the shelf. I'm sure they didn't need it for this. But they went ahead and did me the favor of cutting my hydraulic brake lines to the proportioning valve. So now I've got to replace the brake lines running all the way along the frame to the back. I hate to see that kind of shit happen. You go to the junkyard, you see that stuff all the time, man. People rip shit up that they don't need just to get to something that they need. But anyway, I'm guessing you've already finished putting your estimate as to how much I paid for this. But I got it for $800. Okay, now stop laughing. $800 was a pretty good buy, considering that these things are almost impossible to find nowadays. And if you do find them, well, for instance, there's a 1970, I think it's a 73 also. It's a blue one. It's currently on eBay, and it's at auction, and the bidding has already gone up to $7,000. Of course, that one runs and drives. This one doesn't have an engine or trans or radiator or brakes. But there's also a front bumper on eBay in that exact same condition, and it's $350 plus $140 shipping. Again, the body's really good on it, or fairly good for its age. I mean, it's actually in really good shape. It has a few little rust spots on it right here, but that actually feels pretty solid. And this is just surface rust. Up underneath, I've been underneath this thing. This thing is rust free underneath. Some moron decided to jack it up using the rocker panel. Little tip, always use the chassis to jack up a vehicle. Do not use the body. The body is just thin gauge sheet metal, and it will damage the body. And if you're underneath it, it could fall off the jack and kill you. But if you're that stupid where you're going to jack up a vehicle from the body, maybe that's a good thing. And you can see here, rust free. It came with these Kragers. as you can see, the lug nut is missing on this side, and you have very little lug nut showing. I hope these are countersunk lug nuts, otherwise this wheel is ready to fall off. The bad thing about it is somebody way back when decided they wanted some windows. So they cut some holes in the side of the van that I now have to fill. I will be removing these windows. There's one on the other side just like this one. So I will be putting sheet metal back there again. One of the main reasons I wanted this van is because it will make a hell of a nice storage shed. Another reason I wanted this door and this bumper. I've seen these doors sell on eBay for $600, $700, $800 each. And if you're doing a retro conversion from a newer van and you want to go to the older style, this is a must-have. And this door is absolutely gorgeous. It's not perfect. There is a little ding right here. And there's a little ding right here. That probably doesn't even want to show up on camera. And maybe a little bit right here. But this bumper is another reason I bought the van. These bumpers are now selling for around $350, and again another $150 shipping. So, like I said, I paid $800 for this thing. The door and the bumper alone, the door alone, to me was worth the $800 for that van. And the reason I want this bumper is because it doesn't have the license plate provision. And I will be taking off and filling these, making it nice and smooth like I did for my 78 right there. And I also like the way the bumper fits flush up against the body. And you can see on that one, the 78 Shorty, there's a good 2 inches gap between the bumper and the body. That does not look right at all. Not at all. And this side is pretty good shape too. We do have a rust hole right here. But this is really easy to fix. I will just section this. I will go to the junkyard and I will be taking my cordless grinder with a cutoff wheel, and I will section out this from another van, donor van, and there's also a vent that somebody decided to cut into the roof there, which will be gone. And I will cut out enough from the donor vehicle in the junkyard to get rid of that rust. But if you look around the edge, it's pretty rust free. And at least they didn't cut a sunroof into it. And the body is really straight. There's very little body damage. And this is just surface rust. Right here, just surface rust. It does need new hinge pins, which are about $18 on eBay. And you can see the rocker panel. It's just got a little bit of surface rust right here. And the nice thing is nobody tried to jack it up over here along the body. They did under the door again. Look at this. What the hell is wrong with people? A little bit of rust starting to poke through here and here. I don't know if it'll show up, but as you can see, if you can see, there's no rust at all underneath this thing or on the inner panel. Usually on these older ones, this whole rocker panel would need to be patched up. It does have a little dent here, easily knocked out. Again, that's just my mock-up grill. I actually purchased a really nice grill from Tucson, Arizona, and again, it's going to be arriving tomorrow. And it was a really good deal because it's absolutely rust-free. This grill is a mock-up grill because it's got rust on it, and it's got actual holes in it from rust. Down here, it's got 1 or 2 holes. It'd be a great grill for painting. Like if you wanted to do the headlights, you know, like this, black and white, you can do that. It's relatively straight, which makes it a really good mock-up grill. It did have the marker lights, which is good. And the funny thing is, the mirrors I took off my shorty van are those exact mirrors, and they're like immaculate condition. They don't even need paint. So I will be using those again. I'll be sticking the shorty mirrors on this van. Oh, and this van, I have a set of 1-ton coil springs. And it should actually sit higher than it does now without an engine, with the 1-ton coil springs. I had a 72 Chevy van and I wanted to lift it, and I put larger tires on it. I don't remember the size. I was 13 at the time. But it looked really cool, and I had white spoke wheels, so I'll probably do that to this. Buy some white spoke wheels, BF Goodrich all-terrain tires, put those on there, and like I said, put the 1-ton coil springs on it, and some lift blocks for the rear. I'm not going to go crazy, you know, just a few inches. Leveling kit for the back, and whatever lift I get out of the front. That's original paint on the floor. As I said, not a rust bucket. Somebody made these ribs and had it all paneled out. I might do the same thing, but I don't think I want to utilize these ribs. I would just go with the steel ribs on the side that are already there from the factory and screw directly to those, like a tongue and groove, 6-inch tongue and groove. And the reason I would do that is because the ribs are going to make it narrower on the inside. And I want to be able to put, you know, essentially a full-size bed in it, at least a twin. And as far as this door is concerned, I would like to have the single glass full-length window on this door. So I might just sell this door. But it'll be difficult to find one as like this without the body line. But yeah, what I want to do is I want to make this thing match. Paint scheme, looks, tires, wheels, everything. The van I had as a kid when I was 13. My dad took us camping up in Angeles Crest. In that van, even when it was snowing on the outside, we were still nice and warm on the inside because it was well insulated. And I will get the aluminum bezels. My shorty van here, it had no bezels on it when I bought it. These were a really good deal on eBay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that door, put it here, and I'm going to sell this door and that door, and I'm going to buy doors in the junkyard with the windows that pop out here, because when I was a kid, the windows popped out. And I will stick this bumper on this van along with those bumper brackets. Upcoming video, guys, if you want to see that. Yeah, and these Kragers are in pretty good shape. I don't see any rust on them. The guy that sold this to me told me that these wheels are a 5-on-5, which is really weird because these are 5-on-5.5. It did come exactly like this, guys. Again, the only thing I put was the grill, mock-up grill. And this dash is in pretty bad shape, so I'll more than likely be replacing it. There's one on eBay right now, but the guy wants a little too much. I mean, he's asking $350 plus $150 shipping. Seems like everything costs $500 these days. These seats, I'm not worried about them. I won't reupholster them. I'll just go to the junkyard and pick up a set over at U-Pull-It here in El Paso. And they'll only cost me $35 a piece. That is all I paid for these captain's chairs, $35 a piece. I shampooed them, cleaned them up, no rips. And of course, I will be buying a Grant steering wheel for this one. This one still has the factory steering wheel, which, as you can see, is junk. Another thing they did, whoever took the engine, was they cut the wire harness. There is some surface rust here, but it's just surface rust. This is like a caulking that they use. Bonding, it's a seam bond. Like this stuff right here. But it's really solid. And I'm guessing the only reason why I have that is because of that. They had some previous body damage there by an obvious amateur. Why do you think that is? Why do I say obvious amateur? Post it in the comment section below. Before the end of this video, I will tell you why obvious amateur. Obvious amateur. You know, one of the good things about this stuff is if you're going to do tongue and groove, it might even make it easier to do. But I want that extra width. I mean, this would be good for, you know, regular house insulation because it's at least 4 inches deep. But they actually make insulation for metal buildings. And it's rated at, I think it's R30, and it's only, well, it's less than a 1/4 inch thick. You can put several layers of that stuff and still be better off than housing insulation. This is actually kind of cool, but it's too damaged. But you know what? If I'm actually careful with it, and I wanted to, I can take it down and stick it in my shorty van and cut all that bad section off. It's just something to think about. I more than likely will not do that because of the color. And then here's some more evidence of amateur bodywork. It's just unbelievable what people do. If you don't know what you're doing, you guys, I'm not talking about you guys watching this channel, because you guys are actually learning how to do things properly by researching on YouTube. People that have done this stuff before can save you a lot of time and headaches and explain to you what not to do. This is a perfect example of what not to do. So anyway, what somebody obviously did here is they cut a hole in this to punch out a dent that was in the bottom of this door. Now, that is absolutely incorrect way to do it. If they wanted to pull it out, if you watch some of my other videos, you're going to see me using something called wiggle wire. Google it. Go to eBay, type in wiggle wire, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Wiggle wire is an excellent tool to use in pulling out dents. It's better than drilling a hole and then using a slide hammer to pull the dent out. Now I'm going to explain to you why this is obvious amateur work here. Amateur hour. Okay, so somebody from the outside of this van drilled some holes so they can use a slide hammer and pull out the dent. When all they had to do was come in this van with a rubber mallet and tap it out from right here. This guy must have been a Democrat, because only a Democrat would do something this stupid. And that stupid. And then they didn't even bother to take it down to bare metal. You know, I don't always take stuff down to bare metal, but when I do have to, I do. This was probably a pretty good sized dent. So the body work, the Bondo, was just too thick. It had nothing good to stick to. Now, if you're going to apply a shallow bit of Bondo to factory paint, that's okay. But I'm only talking a few mils, like a small light hail damage. And also some Bondos will actually say right on them that you can put it over paint. More amateur hour here. You can see that. No master cylinder, no power booster, no proportioning valve, cut hydraulic line. And then when they removed the engine, they didn't, rather than unbolt the upper core support, they just, looks like they twisted it and twisted it. And these are just nuts. They could have unbolted it right here, 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 and here, and removed it. But instead they made their job 100 times worse. Makes you wonder, how the hell do they pull the engine motor mount bolts and the transmission mount bolts and the booster bolts if they didn't have the tools? And it would have taken them like 5 minutes to unbolt this. But instead, they chose the caveman way, just rip the thing off. So now I got to spend a couple hours on each one of these, fixing it, straightening it out. And that sucks. And then instead of unplugging the wires, they just hacked right through them. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then, in case you're wondering what was here, I'm actually not sure what was here. I thought it was a speedo cable, but this blue deal is a speedo cable. And then this is your parking brake. But let's take a look at this van. Of course, this is an 89. I can't see over there. This van has actually got a really good engine in it. This van has the 305. Yeah, I don't like 305s, but this one's a roller cam 305. And it's only got 48,568 factory miles on it. Picked this one up from Copart for $600 or $650. It was one or the other. Got an ocean of cars. 23 cars. Okay, this is an 81 Chevy van, and you can see it's got this hump right here. And it's got this coming out. I'm not sure what this is, what it goes to. I'd have to get underneath there and figure that out. But in any case, this is the hump that they cut out from the other van. If it's not something really necessary, I'll just take a flat piece of steel and I will weld it on there, patch it. Or if it is necessary, when I go to the junkyard to collect my patchwork, I will cut this off. I will cut this off anyway when I go to the junkyard to get my patchwork, just to have it. Highly recommend Ford solenoids, especially if you have headers. And this one's getting a new windshield. Okay, that's what it is. It's the throttle cable. $35 from the junkyard. Yeah, they're kind of ugly. I don't always go cheap. Stewart Warner oil pressure gauge. Stewart Warner water temperature gauge. This was like $250 for those two gauges. Okay, so now looking at this van, how much do you think that one cost me? And that one, I bought it complete with engine, transmission. I've done some stuff to it. It actually came with the metal bezels on the taillights. It did not come with those mirrors. It came with some really cheap mirrors. It did not come with these tires and wheels. It came with steel, rusted out wheels. And oh, and again, another Democrat decided to jack up this van from the rocker panel. And not only did they try to do it once, but twice, right here. Three times. Four times. Five times. They didn't get this side. And 6 times. The hell is wrong with those people? Damn communists. Unbelievable. But anyway, that van was sitting since 1986. It is original from El Paso. So is my white Shorty. In 1986 was the last time this vehicle was registered. It was impounded by the sheriff's department, I guess, for being a derelict vehicle on the side of somebody's house. And it was auctioned off. But when I bought it, I paid $900 for this van, which was a steal. So anyway, I got the thing home. The guy told me he was not able to get it running, that he was only able to get it to crank. So I had to figure it out. It took me about 5 minutes. See that loop wire? That loop wire is the neutral safety switch. And the neutral safety switch, what that'll do for you is if the car is in park, the van will start, or car, or pickup. If the neutral safety switch does not detect it being in park, it will just crank, it will not fire up. So I unplugged the neutral safety switch, which is what that black portion is, unplugged it, and I put that looper wire in and tried to crank it. It still did the same thing. It just cranked. So then, upon further examination, right here, the base of the distributor, there is a power plug to the coil. This power plug was actually unplugged And the reason it was unplugged is because it's broken. There's no way to lock it in. And this was sitting just like that under the firewall. So it's absolutely not going to start. And now it will start. You need air, you need compression, you need spark, and you need timing. If you're messed up on any one of those, it will not start. So in any case, it does start now, and it starts and runs very good. It has a brand new fuel tank. I did not buy the fuel tank. It actually came on this van. The guy thought, well, maybe the fuel tank is messed up. So he spent probably $300, $400 on a new fuel tank. That's a new fuel tank right there for my 70SS 396. This is a fuel injection tank because I'm converting it to fuel injection. This is a Holly tank. I actually bought that tank about 6-7 years ago. And at the time I paid $600 for it, plus the pump, plus the sending unit. I paid almost $900 for this tank, or right at $900. Today it'll cost you around $1,300, I'm guessing. Everything's gone up. Oh, it also did not come with the stereo. In fact, this van had no stereo at all. That was a solid plastic dash, no room to put a stereo. So I cut it open and made the stereo fit. And I installed new speakers on both doors. They both work. So yeah, everybody, I know this is a much better van than the other one I just bought for $800. This one was only $100 more. And another thing I did was I installed a new starter in this van. The guy, and I didn't buy that starter. The starter actually came with the van. But when I was in there installing the new starter, on the side of the engine block, well, first I noticed the block was free, absolutely free of any oil. No grease, no contamination. You know, like if it's an old engine, they're going to leak oil, and then dirt and grime is going to get stuck to it. You can tell right away. So on the side of the block, it had a heat warranty label stuck to it. Heat warranty labels are put on when the new engine is installed in order to assure that somebody doesn't overheat the engine and then try and claim warranty. Because they're attached with a glue, and the glue is a special glue that melts at overheating temperature, probably around 235, 240. But as you can see, that's a new fuel tank. And that hose was a PETA. You cannot buy that hose anywhere. And the tube, that was missing. I have no idea where it was, where it went. So I had to go to the junkyard and grab one from the junkyard. But that was quite a bit of work to get that thing in there, to get it to slide underneath the frame rail. It's a very tight fit. But in any case, when I do the body work on this thing, I have to be really good at it. Do a very good job because it's going to be an A-Team van. So it's going to be black to right there, and then it's going to start going up to right about there. And what you want to do is you want to look at the center hub. That's where the red line is going to end. And then the red line is going to go from there all the way back to there, and then come down and then run along this line here to basically a pinstripe around the front. And it's going to be outlined in silver. And then of course gunmetal gray on the top. So basically all I need for this thing, and I'll be able to register it, is a radiator. And radiators for these vans are almost impossible to get. Every time I try and look one up on eBay, it always comes back as being unavailable. And then if you look at the C10 pickup, basically it says the same thing, that the C10 radiator will not fit on these G vans. I think it will. If you know for sure, if you've tried that, leave it in the comments section below. I'd love to hear your experience on installing one of those. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Thanks again. Leave any questions, comments below. I'd love to read them and respond to them. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And stay tuned. Hit the bell icon. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.